Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the gorgeous, spacious, super socially distanced Sierras above Lake Tahoe. I came up here with this. This is a 2017 Mercedes Metris that was converted into a Weekender by Santa Cruz Campers. Now, some of you may know I'm from Santa Cruz, and the person that runs this company is my best friend since I was 8. He got me into cars. So, yes, he gave this to me for free. No, I'm not going to be totally biased. If there's something I don't like about it, I'll tell you about it. If there's something I like about it, I'll tell you about that too. So what I'm going to do is take you through the features it has in terms of power, camping, pop top, and then we're going to take it for a drive back down the mountain on both dirt and tarmac. So throughout my life, my dad's a very outdoorsy guy, and he liked to take us backpacking versus car camping. And backpacking is really fun, it's very rewarding, but everything you're doing is done without furniture because you don't want to carry anything. So if you're cooking, you're low to the ground, you're squatting down, it's kind of hard on your back, it's not that comfortable. This is a much better setup for some kind of long-term trip, or obviously if you're doing a road trip. And everything you see here, other than this water bottle, is provided by Santa Cruz Campers. First up, there's this amazing, genius fridge and freezer that opens both directions. This is the kind of engineering that I like. So I really am impressed by it. It's got a digital thermometer on the side, and it runs off of the car's power supply, which we'll get to in a little bit. They did a really good job of kitting you out for cooking. There's cutting boards, forks, knives, mugs, cups, a French press. You have this great electric kettle that also runs off of the car's power supply, and even this induction cooktop. We cooked steaks on this last night, and they seared very easily. This gets really, really hot, and what I like about it is when we're up here after fire season, I don't want to use an open flame if I don't have to. So using the induction cooking made me feel a lot safer, honestly. They also provide you with a Coleman propane stove, which would be good if you're cooking a more complex meal, if you need more burners. But I was really, really surprised and happy with this. It's the first time I've used one of these. Hey kids, I'm here to tell you why nature is actually the best drug. And you can trust me, I'm the cool counselor because I have my leg up on a step, my elbow resting casually on my knee. Anyway, this is where the van's power supply comes out for the 110 outlets. It's really easy. You just have a simple button, turns it on. All of the inverters and converters and crazy magic of electricity that I don't understand are hidden behind this panel, so it doesn't infringe on your living space at all. And then you have two plugs that can run this kettle, which is an 1800 watt kettle, I believe. It boils a lot of water really quickly. And of course, the induction cooking. I really like how everything in here is hidden. Like the big battery for this power supply is hidden under the driver's seat. This is all tucked away. You know, it just makes it feel almost more like a house, actually. You just have a plug, a button. It's really, really simple. Okay, under here is the heart of the electrical system for this van. 200 watt lithium ion battery powers the USB ports, the accent lights, as well as, of course, the main power outlets. Santa Cruz Camper says that you can spend 3 days cooking, using lights and everything else, and the battery still won't be drained. You also have solar mounted on the roof, and there's a hookup in the back for a throw-out solar panel if you needed more juice. It's really, really cool. It also charges off of the car when you're driving, but it's disconnected from the starter. So if you run down this battery, you can still start the van. However, if you run down your van battery, you can't start the van off of this battery. So make sure you kind of keep track of your power usage. So one thing the Metris has over other vans like the Transit and the NV200 or the Dodge ProMaster City is it actually has more interior space, especially when it's in its cargo configuration. This is the Metris Passenger, which is why it has a passenger seat. You can get it with 2 rows of seats back here. This only has 1, of course. But what's really great about it in the Weekender setup is, one, I can move this seat forward or backward. So if I want to have more cargo space behind me, I can just use these sliders to move it forward and sit closer to the people up front. Or I can slide it all the way backwards and you can put more gear in here. You also still have child seat hookups, so you can put a kid seat back here. So this could function as a daily driven minivan if you are someone who also camps frequently enough. Converting it to a bed is really, really easy. You just lift the bottom cushion up and flip it over. You drop the backrest down and it all falls right into place. It's idiot proof. So Santa Cruz Campers installs all of these rails to move the seat forward. It's crazy easy. You just undo these locks, lift that up, and that's it. Move it forward or backwards. When you're driving though, you want to have those locked in place. And then there is a ton of storage under the bench, and this is where most of the kitchen stuff is stored. We obviously have it all out right now, but this is where you have your propane stove. Everything you've seen, other than the fridge, of course, fits in here. Like the table goes in upside down, it collapses. The little bin full of kitchen utensils goes right here, induction cooker. it all fits really tightly, and it's really handy because it leaves you with all the space for your stuff. We had plenty of space for all of our gear. I mean, I have a giant Pelican in the back, and we still had the shelf behind the back seat, and you could even put stuff up here in the middle if you wanted to. So Santa Cruz Campers is one of the only companies that's authorized to put on the Weekender top. Like, they cut the roof off of a Metris, obviously, and they actually designed a crash brace that goes in here that was tested and passed by the NHTSA to reinforce this whole area. So they designed that and made it themselves. Raising this thing takes like 3 seconds. You want to do these straps, you push up, and then you do the rest of it. And what's really handy is that both the roof and the bed platform are supported by gas shocks. So it makes it a lot easier to raise and lower in a very controlled way. If you don't want to use this for a bed, I can't tell you how great it is to be able to stand up in the van to get dressed or to cook if you need to cook in here because it's raining outside. It's really, really handy. And even when we had the bed, upper bed laid down, you could still stand up in this little window to get dressed. It's a lot better than being bent over in like one of the juicy vans that's built out of a caravan. The pop top has 3 windows. The 2 on the sides have mosquito netting, or you can open them entirely. The front window is just clear plastic, which you cannot open. All right, so we've done the tour, so now let's talk a little bit about how it drives. Obviously, this is not a sports car. I'm not going to be talking about understeer. Things I like about this van. It slots in between minivan size and full-size van. It's got a little bit bigger than a Pacifica, but it will still fit in a normal 7-foot garage, which is really good because you want to be able to park it wherever you park your normal car. I also like how it rides on the highway. It's pretty quiet. It doesn't have a lot of wind buffeting, not a lot of wind noise. And I am really happy with the paddle shifted 7-speed transmission. So the engine is a 2-liter turbo, makes 208 horsepower, 258 foot-pounds of torque. Really handy to have in the mountains. You keep a lot of the horsepower. The torque is good enough to tow 5,000 pounds, which is pretty impressive. Like, you could tow a Miata on a trailer if you wanted to. Yeah, the transmission allows me to have a lot of control going uphill, downhill. I can stay in boost. I can use it for engine braking instead of riding the brakes the whole time. I like that a lot. The van also drives really well compared to other things I've driven lately. A Pacifica handles better. It feels like the center of gravity is lower in that vehicle. It feels smoother, but I also recently drove a 28-foot RV, and that feels as bad as you think it does. That feels like a flatbed truck that they have then mounted a lemonade stand to, and it's just, you're just waiting for it to shake off of the frame. They don't feel really buttoned up, and no matter how small an RV is, you're always aware of the extra width you have, the extra length, the overhangs. Yes, they provide a lot more amenities. You have a bathroom, you have a kind of permanent mattress, but I would never drive that RV up to our campsite here. It would be too big, probably get stuck, it would bash into trees, you'd probably cut something off the side of it. It's just not very good. For something like this, you want a Sprinter or a Metris. You could also do it with like a Jeep Wrangler that's set up with a pop top, but you wouldn't be able to stand up in the middle of that. It's not gonna have nearly as much cargo space. It's not gonna be as comfortable to live in. It'll get you more places. We turned up a road that was gonna be a little bit too gnarly for me to feel comfortable, and a Wrangler or something like that would have handled it fine, but it's not gonna be as comfortable. And I think that's why the Metris is going to be really popular. It's kind of the new Volkswagen Eurovan. You know, they came out with that in the, I think, late 90s, early 2000s. They sold really well, but those are front-wheel drive. The biggest engine they have, I believe, is the V6, and the gas mileage is about 17 highway, whereas this gets 22. This is also rear-wheel drive, which is fun if you want to take it to a drift day. All right. From the cockpit, there's a pretty good amount of tech in here. You have lane keeping assist. You actually have crosswind assist, which I've tried in Sprinters before, and it's really, really effective. You have Bluetooth standard. This has heated seats, one-touch roll-down windows, which are really nice to have. So there's some Mercedes-feeling bits in here. I mean, there's also parts that feel cheap, but remember, this is also sometimes built out in cargo van spec or passenger van spec. So not everything in here is going to be oak wood and smoked walnut or whatever. The gauges are pretty clear to read. It's got a good, little digital dash in the center of it. That's really handy. Things I don't like, the seating position kind of sucks. I feel like I'm sitting about 6 inches too high for where the wheel is, and the steering wheel only tilts, it doesn't extend. So I haven't really been able to find my ideal seating position. I kind of feel like I'm reaching down, you know, and steering a bus or trying to open a water valve or something like that. Brake pedal takes a little bit more pressure than I'm used to in other cars to really get into the brakes. Horsepower is fine. Engine response, yeah, there's turbo lag, but once it gets going, it's pretty strong. You can definitely hear a few jiggles. Some of that is how we packed our gear. One other squeak I noticed on our way up was actually just how the tent was folded from the pop top. So when I roll it correctly, it doesn't squeak, but if I roll it incorrectly, it kind of ruffles and bounces around a little bit. All right, other negatives besides the seating position. The media screen is old Mercedes, which everyone hated and they know, and that's why they've updated a lot. But this has the old system. This is a 2017 model, but the system feels like it's from 2012. You know, it's kind of hard to get to the different functions. It's hard to get to the settings screens. It looks old. The backup camera looks like it was made in 2012 out of a Raspberry Pi or something. It's aimed at the bumper, but it doesn't actually have enough of a field of view to show the sky behind you. So yes, it's helpful for parallel parking, but it's not really great if you're backing up in trees and you want to see where the next boulder is. So that's kind of lame. As far as the Santa Cruz camper van outfitters, they've done a really genuinely good job. I know that Eric is a friend of mine, and I know that some of you might think that means I'm biased, but like honestly, the two things I noticed in the kit they gave us that I would change are, I wish there were rubber mats for the plates, because the plates are metal and the table is plastic, and so they actually slide on it really, really easily. It's kind of like ice skating. Also, the mattresses that are in this, which, you know, they didn't design the mattress, but it's what it comes with, are pretty firm. And I kind of like a firm mattress, but this is a little hard. So if I was going to do a long week in this thing, I would either buy like a foam topper or a foam mattress topper, or maybe just bring my camping pad and put that over it. And then you'd probably be really good to go. The beds were really level. Even the back seat one, that's 3 different sections, like it never felt like 3 sections. It was all flat, but it was a little bit firm. So let's talk about the competition. You could get a smaller van, you know, built out of an Odyssey or something like that. You wouldn't have quite as much cargo space. Obviously, you can go a full-size van or jump up to something like a Sprinter, which just passed us, which are enormous. And yeah, they're way more comfortable. You know, they have more space. They have more amenities inside because they are a larger vessel in which to install things. But if you're renting a Sprinter, 1, they're really expensive to rent. 2, driving those takes a lot more getting used to than driving this. You know, you can get out of a front-wheel drive hatchback or pretty much any car and you'll feel comfortable driving this thing around, you know, parking it, parallel parking it, etc., etc. Getting into a Sprinter 2500, you know, any of those things is going to take a lot more getting used to, and you run the risk of driving into a parking garage and shaving the roof off, whereas you won't do that in this. It'll fit in a normal garage even with that awning on it. So now you can order a Mercedes Metris Weekender from the dealership. This is a new development this year. They partnered with a company called Peace Vans, which Santa Cruz Camper Vans actually works with as well. So the differences are Peace Vans outfits it with a full kitchen, but that adds $15,000 to the price. They also can only work with brand new vans, whereas this van was picked up used. So if you have a used Metris, you can have Santa Cruz Campers outfit it, and Peace Vans can't. And also, Peace Vans can't use the lithium-ion battery system because of whatever the rules are within Mercedes. So you get a lot more power out of the lithium-ion system that Santa Cruz Camper Vans installs, and it's also cheaper. If you want to convert your own Metris van, it's about $22,000 for the setup you saw here, with the slider and the pop top and the solar panels and the power system and everything else. If you want to add on a kitchenette, they make one, a slide-out kitchenette with a stove and a little sink, and that I didn't get a price for that. It's going to be more money, of course. And this is also kind of a cool thing to have if you are a parent who likes to take your kids and your family to the great outdoors frequently enough that it's financially justifiable to own a vehicle for that, but you don't want to have a third vehicle. You know, I mean, if you buy an RV, which are not cheap, brand new, and they depreciate like a Maybach that had just fallen in the ocean. So if you buy an RV, you need to use it a lot to justify that price and that depreciation. But you can't drive it around town when you're back home, right? Like, you're not taking that to the grocery store because you need people running in front and behind you with an overloaded, oversized load sign and you can't park them as many places. Like, they're a pain in the ass. This you could drive as a normal minivan to work. You could drive it to school. You could have your kids in the back with car seats, etc. And then on the weekend, you could just, rearrange it a little bit and then go camping. I think that's pretty cool. You get the best of both worlds. It's why the VW Eurovan was so popular, and it's probably why the Metris Weekender is going to be really popular. I mean, there's a reason that Mercedes decided to start selling this from a dealership, because they know that there is a market there. And it's the same reason that Santa Cruz Camper Vans started converting these things. They have 15 years of experience working on Vanagons and Westphalias, and now they're doing this. And I think, having driven a Westphalia, this is far superior. I mean, I know this one doesn't have all-wheel, four-wheel drive, but good Lord, is the engine a lot better, because the Vanagon, you might as well just push it up the hill yourself. I know that they are iconic, they're cool, and the Synchros can go a lot of places, but they've always lacked in horsepower a little bit, let's be honest. Okay, well, we're at the highway now, and we have a 5-hour drive back to Santa Cruz. So we are going to jump on the road and use the very handy cruise control to do that, and maybe have a little bit of a snack. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening to the podcast. If you haven't checked it out, look at our podcast and our new podcast channel. And thanks for buying our shirts on Blip Shift, and we will see you next time.
And remember, always fight your tickets. Use code TST10 on the Off the Record app, available in the Android and iOS store, or go to offtherecord.com/TST.